Move your damn car, or I'll move it myself. That's what I said, not with my mouth, but with my eyes, locked right on the HOA president as her $300,000 Bentley sat there, sideways, blocking my barn doors. You ever hear a newborn calf cry out, weak and scared, knowing it might not make it? I was on the phone with the emergency vet, voice trembling, heart pounding, begging them to get here faster. And there she was, just standing there, sunglasses on, arms folded, watching the whole scene like it was primetime TV, and my panic was the only entertainment left in town. You know what that moment smells like? Diesel from my old John Deere, sweat, and that sickly sweet hint of expensive perfume mixing in the summer air, plus a little bit of desperation. For half a year, this woman, Vivian Blackstone, had made it her personal mission to bury me in fines, $500, $1,000, because I wouldn't sell my family's ranch to her developer buddies. She knew about my wife's cancer, knew the bills had damn near bankrupted us. Thought a grieving widower with more calluses than cash wouldn't dare mess with her precious toy. Well, lady, you got the wrong cowboy. That's when the story goes from slow burn to wildfire, 20 tons of John Deere justice, forgotten federal laws, and the most expensive lesson my county's ever seen. My name's Jake Morrison. This ranch, 40 acres of honest earth, has been in my family since 1987. The kind of place where the morning air tastes like hay and hope, and the smell of diesel lingers from Grandpa's old tractor. My grandfather built the barn with hands that looked like they'd been carved from the very land he worked. My dad added to it, and I was supposed to pass it on to my girl, Emma. That was before cancer came for Sarah, my wife. 18 months of fighting, specialists, miracles you pay for out of pocket, until the only thing left is the antiseptic stink on your clothes and an empty seat at dinner. Emma, she's 16 and tougher than most men I know. She never whined about waking up at 5 to feed calves, never complained about beans for dinner, never brought up how her friends got new phones while she patched holes in her work jeans. She kept me going when I was just running on fumes. And then Vivian Blackstone rolled in next door, paid $2.3 million for the old Patterson place, turned it into a farmhouse mansion with a kitchen bigger than my entire home. She wanted that authentic rural charm, as long as it came without any actual, farm. First day, she showed up at my fence wearing heels that probably cost more than my entire feed budget. Everything about her screamed designer. Hair so blonde it had never seen a day of honest work, eyes that looked through you, not at you. You're the neighbor with all the noise, she said. Not hello. Not nice to meet you. Just straight to business. Within a week, she was HOA president. Within 2 weeks, my first fine, $500 for agricultural noise violations. Apparently my rooster, Charlie, had forgotten to get her beauty sleep memo. Never mind that County Ordinance 247B explicitly protects agricultural operations that predate suburban development. Vivian didn't care about the law. She cared about control. The fines multiplied, hay bales visible from the road. That's called food for the cattle, by the way. My feed truck in my own driveway, commercial vehicle. A property line dispute over 3 feet of barn that's been here longer than she's been alive. The message was clear: pay up, lawyer up, or shut up. Problem is, I didn't have money for either of the first two, and I don't shut up. That's when she started with the parking. Every morning, clipboard in hand, inspecting my property like it was her personal playground. She'd park that Bentley just close enough to the barn doors to make moving equipment a nightmare. But then came the day everything changed, a breech birth. Calf stuck wrong, mama bellowing, blood on my hands, and time running out. Doc Martinez was racing over with his gear for an emergency C-section. Seconds mattered. And that's when I found her Bentley blocking my barn, fully, intentionally. I saw her sipping coffee by the window, watching me panic. When I finally yelled, "Move your car. Animals are dying," she just smiled and strolled outside. Maybe you should have thought about that before violating HOA standards, farm boy. The calf died. The mother barely survived. And I realized this wasn't just some rich jerk with a control problem. Vivian Blackstone was a predator. She fed on other people's suffering. She'd push until something inside you broke. After that night, my grief turned to rage. Sarah always said my temper was a slow fuse, harmless until it hits dynamite. Well, that day Vivian lit the whole thing. Within 48 hours, she'd slapped 3 more citations on my mailbox. Excessive odors because, shocker, cow's poop, unauthorized commercial vehicle, my feed truck, parked in the same spot for 8 years, unsightly equipment, my hay baler that actually keeps my operation afloat. Each one demanded compliance within 72 hours or daily fines starting at $200. It was bankruptcy by paperwork. But here's what Vivian didn't get. When you corner a farmer, you don't get compliance. You get a man with nothing left to lose. Desperation makes you creative. I started reading every dusty law book in the county library, searching through state agricultural codes, digging for any loophole. That's when I found it, the Agricultural Protection Act. It was like finding water in the desert. Farms established before surrounding residential development. Grandfathered in. My ranch, 1987. Her subdivision, 2019. The law was on my side. And then subsection D, deliberate interference with agricultural operations is criminal harassment, up to $10,000 in fines, and get this, potential felony charges. Blocking barn access during a livestock emergency? That's textbook. Saturday morning, I marched down to the courthouse and filed counter-citations against the Willowbrook Estates HOA. The clerk, a tough old farm gal, winked when she stamped my paperwork. Monday morning, while I'm fixing a fence, I see the sheriff's deputy pull up to Vivian's mansion. She read those legal papers 3 times, her face getting redder with each pass. She called me 10 minutes later, voice dripping with venom. "You think you're clever, farm boy?" I just smiled. "Ma'am, my cows produce more valuable opinions than your lawyers. Have a blessed day." But Vivian wasn't done. That afternoon, her husband Richard, city councilman, soft hands, smile like melted butter, showed up at my fence line. Tried to reason with me. Vivian's just trying to maintain community standards. I didn't even look up. "Your wife blocked my barn during a livestock emergency. A calf died because of her games. What kind of standard is that?" That's when Emma, with perfect timing, called out, "Dad, should I show him the security footage from that morning?" We didn't actually have any footage, but Richard didn't know that. His smile faltered for the first time. But as they walked away, I heard Vivian hiss. Legal harassment didn't work. Time for more direct methods. And just like that, the fight turned personal. The next morning, I got a letter from Blackstone and Associates, thick as a Bible, embossed in gold. 47 pages of legal threats. Barn removal, cessation of all farming activities, $25,000 in damages for diminished property values. Apparently, my cows were personally tanking her real estate dreams. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee gone cold, legal threats mixing with the smell of bacon. "Dad, you look like someone kicked your dog," Emma said. I tried to hide my panic, but she's 16. She's seen too much to be fooled. Legal fees alone would finish me off. That's when Grandpa's old wisdom kicked in. If you can't fight fair, fight smart. I went to the county extension office. Mrs. Henderson sent me to Tom Bradley, the only government employee I ever met who'd survived a farm foreclosure and actually wanted to help. He told me about the Agricultural Defense Fund, free legal representation for farmers facing this exact kind of harassment. Enter Maria Santos. No gold on her business card, no designer suit, just the hands of someone who worked. She flipped through Vivian's threats like they were a takeout menu. "Right to farm laws are airtight," she said. "You could countersue for harassment and make them pay your legal fees. Plus, file complaints with the state agriculture department." That Friday, our countersuit was filed. By Monday, Vivian was shrieking down the phone at me. "My husband has connections. We'll destroy you." I just told her, "Ma'am, my life's already been destroyed by people like you. Only difference is, I'm rebuilding something worth saving." She escalated, fast. Wednesday, my irrigation lines were sliced, clean as a whistle. Thursday, county health inspectors arrived on anonymous complaints. Friday, I found Emma crying in the barn, scared they'd take everything away. That's when I realized Vivian had found my weakness. "You can attack my land, my livestock, my livelihood, but threaten my family? You're asking for war." That's when Emma, desperate to escape a history project, stumbled onto our secret weapon. A musty envelope labeled Morrison Farm Emergency Access, 1952. Inside, township records showing that our barn sits directly on a federally protected agricultural emergency access easement. Any obstruction? Immediate vehicle impoundment, fines up to $10,000, and here's the kicker. Her insurance wouldn't cover damage if she parked illegally. Every morning she parked her Bentley there. She wasn't just being a pain, she was breaking federal law. Emma wasn't done. She found out the agricultural easement extended right through where Vivian liked to spy on us with her fancy camera. Trespassing, federal violation, criminal, not civil. She also dug up the bombshell. Vivian's mansion was mortgaged to the hilt. Any legal hit, she'd lose everything. I didn't need to outspend Vivian. I just needed to let her keep doing what she'd always done. So we documented everything. Maria, Tom, and 2 AG law specialists set up a plan. Next time Vivian blocked my barn, we'd call the sheriff, call the vet, and film everything. Agricultural emergency, federal violation, law enforcement documentation. Her car versus my John Deere, all perfectly legal. The next morning, Vivian pulled her Bentley up sideways, arms folded, sipping coffee. Enjoy your final morning, farm boy. After today, this dispute gets resolved permanently. I called the sheriff. I've got a vehicle blocking emergency agricultural access, requesting immediate removal. Called the vet. Calves got breathing issues, need emergency access. Within the hour, the deputy and the vet arrived, lights flashing. Ma'am, you've been notified of the violation, Deputy Martinez said. Mr. Morrison is authorized to clear the obstruction. She just sneered. You wouldn't dare touch my car. I started the tractor. Diesel smoke, 20 tons of American steel. As I rolled toward the Bentley, the crowd, neighbors, farmers, Emma, watched, phones out, history in the making. I gave Vivian one last chance. Ma'am, please move your vehicle. This is your last opportunity. She spat. Go to hell, farm boy. That was it. I put the John Deere in gear and, with the most satisfying sound you've ever heard, the blade touched her Bentley, scraping $50,000 of entitled arrogance off the county map. She screamed, Stop. You're damaging my car. The deputy said, Ma'am, insurance excludes coverage for vehicles illegally blocking agricultural operations. This is considered owner negligence. Vivian's face drained of color. Not only was she liable for the damage, but criminal trespassing charges were on the table. She roared off, the Bentley making sounds no German engineer ever intended. The crowd cheered. Someone started chanting, USA. Not exactly my style, but hey, justice deserves an encore. Within days, Vivian's insurance denied her claim. $53,000 in repairs, all out of pocket. She and her husband quietly listed the mansion for sale, dropping the price just to cover legal fees and the damages. But the real win? The county committee strengthened AG protection laws. No more new development within 2 miles of any established farm. Vivian's entire development plan, dead in the water. Her scorched earth campaign ended up fertilizing every farmer's rights in the county. A viral video of my tractor teaching her Bentley a lesson racked up over 2 million views. Suddenly, tourists wanted to see the farm where the guy pushed the Karen's car. Emma ran weekend justice tours, money going to an AG defense fund, and a scholarship in Sarah's name. The new neighbors brought cookies, asked if their kids could pet the calves, and helped patch the county road. Tom retired, but said our coffee was better than the government's. Deputy Martinez got promoted, saying the area's been real quiet since certain troublemakers moved on. Emma graduated high school and went off to study agricultural law. As we watched the sunset from our porch, she asked, Dad, do you think Mom would be proud of how we fought for this place? I looked at her, at the land, the barn, the cattle that would never be condos. Your mom always said you honor the people who can't fight anymore by fighting harder for what they loved. Yeah, I think she'd be proud. So here's what I learned, the thing that came late but hit hard. Power only works if you let yourself believe you don't have any. People like Vivian count on you being too tired or too broke to push back. She never figured that a farmer's strength isn't in his wallet, it's in his roots, his family, his stubborn refusal to back down. And sometimes, just sometimes, the law, the community, and karma all show up at the same time, riding a John Deere. But I keep thinking about Vivian, her screaming, Go to hell, farm boy, in front of a dozen neighbors and a deputy's body cam. Some people defeat themselves, no matter how many connections they think they have. Ever deal with someone like that? Someone who thinks they're untouchable, until they run into something they just can't buy. I'd love to hear your stories, drop them in the comments. And if this one hit home, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, because there are more Jake Morrisons out there than Vivian Blackstones. Sometimes the good guys win quietly, but it still matters. So what's justice look like to you? Where's the line between fighting back and going too far? I'll be reading every story.